Committee reports, budget and finance.
Approved.
Student activities.
No.
Student advocacy.
Approved.
Academic fairs.
Approved.
Okay, President, Senator Bondo, you have 2 minutes.
Getting a little ahead of yourself, Ivan. Well, I find it surprising that student activities are not approved because this kind of bill would specifically allow for more student activities. This week, Greek life on this campus is mobilized in order to get as many signatures as possible on a petition in order to support this kind of legislation. Right here are 606 signatures, twice as much as you need to run for office that support this. Not just Greeks, non-Greeks as well. We spent all day today, yesterday, Monday, last week. We spent a lot of time trying to show you how much this matters, not just to us Greeks, but to the entire UC Merced community itself. This is 1/10 of our student population here. That is a lot of people who seem to support this. And I do believe that that shows that not only is this supported, but there's in the form of mandate for this happening on this campus. Right now, there's our bylaws actively disenfranchise a group of students, and they don't deserve it. They've never done anything to deserve that. And in the end, the money that they could possibly get from this, outside of what we already, the small amount we already allocate them that they don't get the chance to really use very often, would really go towards building a better community here. I'm going to pass these around, and I'm going to let you guys start talking and keep it short today, unlike the last time we went over this.
Okay, any more discussion? Senator Brown?
I'd like everyone to just say any problems that you have with it that are different from last time, instead of everybody going around saying everything they think is good and bad about it, because I feel like a lot of complaints are going to be repeated from last time. So if you have anything new, say it. If you don't, I think general consensus is for it. A lot of people for it.
Any more discussion? Senator Husto?
I just wanted to add in regard to the second being enacted, I just wanted to see a little reciprocality, and that in regard to, I would like to change it to be enacted that groups ineligible for general funding would be social fraternities and sororities that are not full members of the campus fraternity and sorority council.
Do you accept?
Yeah.
Can you say it louder? Because I think everybody's having trouble hearing you.
So, can we go down to that?
You need to go down all the way to the second to be enacted. Okay, what is it?
So I just wanted to put that not to remove it, but to amend it to say that social groups ineligible for general funding would be social fraternities and sororities that are not full members of the campus fraternity and sorority council.
So do you want that added to like at the
You can add it in
at the end of the sentence? Would that be fine?
Actually, the first
You should go to the first being enacted right after fraternity and sorority council.
So next at the bottom. Like that? Or that?
no, actually the first one's good.
Anyone?
It's on the
Senator Daniel?
I believe
Hey.
I believe Senator Houston wanted to change the B further enacted to state that the associate students of the University of California Merced amend the financial bylaws section 7.5.2.1 in order to state that social fraternities and sororities that are not full members of the campus fraternity and sorority council are ineligible.
Senator Mondo?
Yeah, that sounds correct. They said be enacted, so it be enacted, not be further enacted. I do think that after associate students of the University of California Merced, it should also be modified instead of removed because they're just getting rid of it completely.
Right there, where it says remove. Second, be it further enacted. No, where it says remove. Remove right there. Change that to amend. Okay, so you gonna just send it to Galen?
yeah, I just
Okay. So can we continue with discussion? Is there any more discussion? Because we're moving straight to vote and no discussion. Senator Daniel?
Wait,
Okay, any more discussion?
Just like
Senator Jones?
So you just change it from amend to remove, right?
Yeah.
I mean, from remove to amend.
Yeah.
Oh.
And some
Yeah.
saying that members who, people, big organizations who aren't members of fraternity sorority council can't get them.
Right.
Does anybody understand what the amendment is? Yes? Okay. Senator Daniel?
Shouldn't, the first be enacted shouldn't say like 2.1, it should just stay as sub-point 5.6.
Can you speak a little louder, please? Is
Oh, no.
there any more discussion? Senator Young?
Oh.
Any more discussion? So let's do a vote. Okay, so we are now going to vote on Bill 54. Wait, 58. 58. Equity and organizational funding. All those in favor of approving Bill 58, please raise your hands. Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniel, Senator He, Senator Bustos, Senator Zisser, Senator Mondo, Senator...
I call a point of order.
Yeah.
So Senator Gray, why are you moving yourself from the table?
You're saying.
Why are you removing yourself from the table to abstain?
That's what you said to do.
If he's going to abstain, that's...
That's my choice.
No, I know, but what reason do you have to abstain?
It's a vote. I can explain later. If you have a question, you guys have my email.
Okay, we're moving to a vote. Keep your hands up. All those in favor? Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniels, Senator He, Senator Bustos, Senator Zisser, Senator Mondo, Senator Taylor, Senator Garland, and Senator Brown. All those opposed? Senator Jones, Senator Prado, Senator Teese, Senator Wong. So there's three. No, he stepped away from the table. So that's right seat.
What was the number?
It's 69.
Yeah,
69%.
So 9. Bill number 58, equity and organization passes. Okay. Well, congratulations.
I kind of point out, like, the statement that you're trying to add to the second even active, like, is already covered in the first.
Oh.
Because it says they have to be full members and off-campus ones aren't members.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
not going to hurt. It's just
yeah.
there's a repetitive note.
Okay, so back to the Senate agenda. Bill number 59, the Melodramatic Festival, introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
Move to approve Bill number 59, the Melodramatic Festival.
There's been a motion to approve Bill 59. Is there a second? Senator Garland.
Second.
Second by Senator Garland. Committee reports, budget and finance.
It was tied.
Right. Academic affairs.
Those aren't, so we approve it.
Student activities.
Not filed.
Student advocacy.
It was disapproved, but with recommendations that there needs to be more information about who the actual artist is, as well as like a presentation of what is to come for use for said students, especially since we only have $40,000 left.
Senator Daniel, 2 minutes.
So, brief introduction. One, I am going to use motion to move to closed session before the actual presentation because it reveals students going to reduce our marketing plan. We kind of know what to know who the artist is. But besides that, the Melodramatic Festival is a festival proposed to, one, stimulate campus culture, two, raise awareness of the LGBTQIA community on campus. We have 9 organizations in support, which will be touched on the presentation. Basically, what we're asking for is the headliner of security costs, but I would, due to new information that was recently being known to me when I was actually advocating for this festival, I had the notion that we were at $59,000 for the actual thing, so I would like to amend the I'd like to amend the amount asked for from 23,000 to, well, not the purpose of the amendment. To amend the amount asked for to 17,000.
What?
To $17,000.
Is there any more discussion? Senator Daniel?
So I move to move into closed session. To enter a closed session with the invitation of ASUCM President Brandon. And the advisor to
Okay, then is there a second? Senator Brown? Second by Senator Brown. Any discussion? Anyone opposed?
That's something we dealt with a lot last year.
Probably fine.
I wrote it down. I think it's 7512.
It is 7512.
Okay. Okay, discussion. Okay, we'll get back to the pros and cons until that bill comes up later. Pro? Senator Sir? No. Any pros? Any pros? Senator Brown?
It's a really nice event, and it's very ambitious, but I think that ambition is because if you don't have ambition, some of the events that we have would have been started. They had to have started somewhere. This is a nice explosive start for good event that I feel like will grow in the future.
Okay. Cons? Senator Zisser?
One issue I saw with this is that this event isn't taking place for another 6 weeks from now, and we have about 6 Senate meetings left. So if you look at it that way, even if the money is going to come back to us, it's kind of locked up if we vote yes on it. So that's 23,000 locked up, and we won't get it back till after Senate's over. So we can't allocate it to other clubs in the meantime.
Pro? Sorry. Pro? Senator Guerrero?
Well, I just wanted to make a point of information. The College Republican Club asked for 28,000 something. But just to point of reference, like they still have to give us their money back. And they said it was either March or April. So like maybe if they could give us the money back before then, it would be like kind of like beneficial to the entire overall budget, not only just to allocate for this club, but for other clubs that are asking in the future.
Con? Senator Mondo?
Looking at the bylaws and after what Steve said, it's pretty airtight. Only club, section 7.5.1.2 states that any student group that has been registered as an official university registered campus or organization by the Office of Student Life or other UC Merced department or office for more than one full academic year has an active volunteer advisor who's a full-time employee of the university is eligible to apply for general funding unless deemed ineligible by another section of these bylaws. It's pretty airtight. You have to have made it to that point. It doesn't say anything, as far as I can tell, off the paper at least, about sponsorships like ICC, but I'm pretty strict adherent to what, Walter, I think, put it very well. Constitution gives us the powers, the bylaws say how we can appropriate those powers. And I don't know if we have the power to allow a first year organization to partner with another club like that and have them appropriate funds for a first year organization on their behalf. But I think it's a conversation we can have, probably.
Senator Pro? Senator Daniel?
Basically, this project is a collaboration between 9 different RCOs. I've gone out and talked to them. I explained to them the whole logistics, the entire thing. And up till about, I want to say, maybe an hour ago, I wasn't aware that there was $40,000 left in the general fund. I was pretty sure there was only around 59. But with that being said, like I kind of invalidates the signatures, about 300 signatures I actually collected, because that does give them this information. Because they signed this knowing there was $59,000. So with that being said, this, with light of the financial bylaws, I'm not really sure this would be a matter of court. If an event that's held by 9 different organizations, including a tertiary organization, can be eligible to come for that event.
Khan? Senator Houston?
So, just out of politics, we just have $40,000 left. If we approve this, it's $23,000 in spending. That'll just leave $17,000 left for the rest of the year. And I don't feel like it would be fiscally responsible, and it would really rip the skins of all of the other clubs and organizations that have other bold innovations and things that they want to do for the rest of the semester.
Senator Pro? Senator Brown?
Although I do feel like this is a good time to have just a quick discussion about whether we should amend that section of the financial bylaws to allow RCOs the same opportunity that we give them in ICC to allow for sponsorships. Because right now it's airtight, but it doesn't have to be.
Khan?
Well.
Senator Wong?
I just, so like when you guys talked about having another club co-sponsoring, from the email that you sent out to all the clubs, or a majority of the clubs, the name that you keep dropping was Awesome. It does not say that this is an event by Awesome and BSA. You're saying that it's a collaboration. A lot of the clubs are also doing collaboration, but that doesn't mean it's all of their events. If there's a spearheading club. And the other thing is, I don't understand why we would change our bylaws based on one event.
Senator Pro? Senator Daniel?
A lot of different organizations agree for this, and DSA would, unless there was actually like 5 reasons why DSA would be for this event. Basically, this event, while it was, when the marketing was being done, it did give a appearance of Awesome, but every event, the actual commission, or not the commission, the committee that's working on this event exclusively is the presidents of all 9 organizations, as well as Awesome's event share. So that's really so all 9 organizations are contributing to this, including the Multicultural Student Council. It can be simply that can simply be fixed by a simple communication. Like it can be simply fixed through communication that this is a collaborative effort of all these organizations.
Khan? Senator Jones?
Well, as Senator Mondo already stated, we have on the table the potential violation of our financial bylaws. Because I've read over that section, and in the section it just says that you have to have been established for 1 full academic year, and it doesn't necessarily state that that restriction no longer applies if they're co-sponsored. And it's really, if it's a conversation we should have, it's not that we should make it out of the bill because we don't want to potentially violate something, just trying to make an example of it.
Senator Manuel?
If you look at the being enacted, it says that the money allocated is strictly to the Vietnamese Student Association for the festival. This isn't really, well, I can say, well, there is an argument on the table that Awesome is spearheading it. It's still another organization at requesting the funds. The organization president currently cannot make it due to midterms. It is midterm season. I am willing to table the bill for another week. It would still fall within OSL guidelines for like the speaker or the contract timeline, but I'm willing to table this bill for a week just to have, so we're out of midterms and we can actually have a lot more student representatives come out and speak that this is a collaborative effort.
More discussion? Senator Gray.
I don't think the argument here is, well, I mean, there is an argument that whether or not it's reading bylaws, but I want to agree 100% with Senator Justo. Justo. I call him that. I'm sorry. I'm telling you I called him that. If we're going to be financially responsible, $22,000 out of our budget right now is going to be really detrimental for the next, how many months we have left in school. It's going to be really hard to say no to other clubs. I don't want to say no to this bill. I just wish that he would have came with an idea that was a lot smaller for a first year. Regardless of it being sponsored by another club, I don't feel that a club of your, with low experience can actually pull a $23,000 event off.
Point of information, I amended the bill to cut 23% from it, and every member of the committee during this event are various members that form our events, such as Multicultural Student Council, such as NESB, the Austin's Vice President is the National Convention Committee Chair for NESB, as well as Steel Alumni Association, as well as Bobcat Band, as well as Bobcat Band, and BB Student Association.
Okay, you guys have 20 seconds to respond. Motion, Senator Daniel.
I would also like to make a point of information that the finances given out has to be in the bank account of a non-first year organization. The financial bylaws deals with finances and the other 8 organizations besides Austin are all sponsor organizations. BSA is in charge of the event, and by the definitions of the bylaws, they will be fund operators.
Senator Daniel, finish up your thought.
But
Senator Daniel.
I would like to, due to new information, just to actually have all the club presidents, I would like to move to table this bill.
There's been a motion to table this bill for a week. Is there a second? Senator Brown. Second by Senator Brown. Any discussion? Any discussion? Senator Jones.
Well, I have a question. Is it really necessary to table it? Because it's like we already voted on this before, and then it's up again. Do we really want to prolong it, or can we vote on it, or?
Senator Daniel.
I feel as if it's voted on right now, then a proper representation. There's, due to midterms, there are a lot of the clubs that actually sponsoring this can make it during this time. So I feel if more input from them is present, then senators will be able to have a more not informed decision, but more input saying, hey, this is the event that we're all sponsoring, and are able to that we're able to buy that, even though that we're in support of this and we think it's that.
Senator, sir.
I trust you, Senator Daniel, that there are people working with you on this, and I trust that they're going to help out with this. But that still wouldn't change my vote personally on the bill, and I don't know if that would change the other senators' vote. So I think we should try to make a vote today if we can.
More discussion. Senator Wong.
I understand that there is collaboration going on. I just feel like this is really shady on our part, and if we're going to keep clubs accountable to standards like that, I don't think it makes sense for us to introduce a bill for our club when we're not following that same standard. And having them coming in, with that in mind, it won't change my vote, because at the end of the day, I'm still seeing Awesome as the spearheading club that's for this, and there is bill, or is a bylaw for that.
Discussion on tabling the bill. Senator Gray.
$22,000 today and $2,000 next week is not going to change the vote. That's the amount of money that's being allocated. I'd rather fund 10 clubs, $2,000. $10,000. I mean, $2,000 instead of a $20,000 bill, to be honest.
Any more discussion on tabling? Senator Jones.
So there's the potential that if you table it for another week, we'll definitely lose more money next week. And so it's really just a risk. Do you really think that speakers are going to convince most of Senate that basically half of the remaining money is just going to go to this event that has like a possibility, like we don't know what the possibilities are. We don't really know what student interests are for this event, basically, because it's the first time this has ever happened, and this is quite a bit of money.
Any more discussion on tabling? Okay, we're moving to vote. All those in favor of tabling this bill, please raise your hand. Senator Daniel and Senator Brown. All those opposed? Good. Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Tees, Senator He, Senator Justo, Senator Zisser, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Garland, and Senator Taylor. Okay, this bill's not tabled. Any either motion to extend the time or move to vote? Is there a motion? Okay, we're moving to a vote. All those in favor of approving Bill 59, please raise your hands. Senator Brown. All those opposed? Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Tees, Senator He, Senator Justo, Senator Zisser, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Taylor, and Senator Garland abstained. Senator Daniel. Bill 59 does not pass. Okay, bill number 60, legislative bylaw revision introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
I move to approve bill number 60, the legislative bylaw revision.
There's been a motion to approve bill number 60, the legislative bylaw revision introduced by Senator Daniel. Is there a second? Senator Garland?
Second.
Second by Senator Garland. Committee reports, budget and finance.
Unanimously approved.
Academic affairs. Second, student activities. Student advocacy.
Approved.
Okay, Senator Daniel, you have 2 minutes.
So basically, this is a really simple legislative bylaw amendment. It amends section Article 1.1. Basically, it defines, if you go to the current one reads, well, before I go any further, I would like to amend Article 1C, remove that entire section. So basically, this changes the format of discussion that typical law senators have. The introduction of the pro-con system was kind of awkward because we're used to just giving off an opinion. By removing the pro-con system, it allows more conversation for issues at the table. And also clearly defines, one more amendment. Change Article 1, B, to the sponsor of a piece of legislation shall be the first speaker recognized by the chair, which has a maximum time frame of 5 minutes unextended, which does not count towards the time limit for debate on any question. So basically, this means that when you introduce a bill, you have 5 minutes. That's it. Many people can agree that 5 minutes is ample enough time, and you really don't need extension. But it doesn't count to the overall discussion time. So yeah.
Any more discussion? Senator Justo?
Would you like to make a friendly amendment to fix the grammar of Article 1B to remove which?
Do you accept?
Sure.
Any more discussion? Senator Gray?
I thought we were talking about reducing time and making Senate more efficient. This is adding a 25-minute block to every single discussion that we have. I don't know if you know what an introduction is. It's just to introduce the bill. And we can sit there and talk about the bill for 5 minutes when it's going to be talked about for 20 minutes. It's plenty absurd. And nonetheless, we're limiting what IVP can do. We're trying to give students more ability to do what they want to do with their power, and you're completely just shutting that down by limiting what he believes is right out the table, and it's up to his discretion to do it. So I believe this is completely absurd. If anybody takes into consideration, completely undermining the authority of IVP moving forward.
Senator Daniel?
I respectfully disagree. By removing the pro-con format of discussion, it gives IVP freedom of discerning which format to follow when it comes to particular issues. And by limiting the time frame to 5 minutes, when we introduce a piece of legislation and send it to committees, it's supposed to be discussed in length. So the committees offer recommendations to the table, and we make the amendments at the table. Having a 5-minute introduction for like a resolution, such as a master plan, the master plan is a really complex subject. The Ignite resolution was a really complex subject. The divestment resolution, if you reference the UCLA meeting that happened, I believe a few weeks ago, it was a 12-hour meeting where 9 hours of people commenting on a complex issue. By having a 25-minute discussion on an issue that's supposed to be discussed partly in committees and then the final edits and final vote at the table does not make the meetings any more efficient.
Senator Brown?
You misconstrue the meaning of the word shall with the word should. No, wait, you struck that out, didn't you?
Where?
The red part? That's all struck out?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, so the only substantive change is it changes debate, the introduction from an undefined amount of time to 5 minutes. That's actually really the only change here that's any different from what we are now. And honestly, if you're the writer of a piece of legislation and you can't create a summary of your piece of legislation in 5 minutes, we're not dealing with 800-page congressional bills here. We're dealing with 3 to 4 page piece of legislation that allocate a little bit of money. If you can't introduce it in 5 minutes or less, then you don't understand your piece of legislation well enough to be introducing it in the first place. I mean, that's the only substantive change here. So I don't see how it limits the IVP at all, really.
Senator Mondo, and then we'll go to Senator Gray.
I do believe this gives the chair more agency, as it doesn't directly specify how he is to run run the actual discussion itself. I believe it's his discretion, as far as I can tell from this. And above that, I can't disagree with allowing the speaker time outside of discussion to actually just explain their bill. I did think 10 minutes was a lot. I still think 5 minutes is on the high side. I'd like to see 2, but I mean, I don't know how much support there is for that. Either way, 2 or 5 minutes, I don't think it's a bad idea at all. And I do think it's a lot more time for us to actually discuss our bills. And as we've been doing lately, our discussions we haven't had to extend time as often. So I do believe that we get more discussion and get things done earlier.
More discussion? Senator Gray, do you? Senator Jones?
When I first looked at it, I had an issue with section C, but that's crossed out. And then I had an issue with the 10 minutes, but it's been cut to 5 minutes. So I feel like as it is, it's fine. Because, like Senator Brown said, you shouldn't be taking more than 5 minutes. So 5 minutes, I don't believe is too extensive. And it can probably limit a lot of the discussion that we actually have on the table. So 5 on the table, 10 is way too excessive.
Senator Sister?
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to move it from 5 to 2 minutes.
Do you accept? Is there a second? Senator Gray? Second by Senator Gray. Discussion? Senator Brown?
The 2 minutes, sure, but there are some things that require a little bit more time, as well as people who may have their thoughts gathered in their head but have a problem releasing the words out onto the table, so to speak. There are a lot of people, sometimes I get lost in my own head. I think 5 minutes is a good amount of time to give people an adequate way to elaborate both on their bill and to actually get out their thoughts in the first place.
Senator Taylor?
I think 2 minutes is plenty of time because you're just introducing a bill. You should have read the background already, and 2 minutes should be plenty of time. If there's any other questions, you have discussion. That's what it's meant to be.
Senator Heat?
I think that's fine. 5 minutes is fine. I mean, 2 minutes is too limiting. I mean, they're probably all going to be 2 minutes anyways, so, I would rather give somebody more time and not cut them off than give them less time and cut them off. So I think this should go good.
Senator Gill?
I'm kind of on the fence with this because 5 minutes to me seems too long, but 2 minutes seems like kind of like too short, especially on issues. No, I'm just simply saying for like issues that were really controversial, such as the Sigma Chi bill, and also Sigma Chi and American Red Cross bill, as well as the equality in Greek funding bill. Like there were like major points that needed to be addressed before discussion could begin, and by addressing those points like from the beginning, it could definitely limit like all of the conversation that could have been had, like redundancy and going around in circles.
Senator Pardo?
Like Senator said, we already read the background, we read the bill. I mean, if you have questions, you can just go and talk to the Senate before the Senate meeting and clear things up. It's introduction. Like, I can do it in 1 minute
know, like Senator Brown even said, if you know your bill, you do it in less time. You don't have to do a big summary.
Senator Jones.
But I think you have to realize that sometimes issues aren't simply black or white. Sometimes bills aren't just dealing with money. Sometimes you have bills dealing with bylaw amendments and things like that and resolutions. And sometimes things do require more time, but I honestly don't think most introductions will take 5 minutes, but we want to have the option so if it does take that much time, that they have that much time. I don't believe that it will, but you want to give them that option.
Senator Wong and Senator Brown.
I urge us to think about the Senate down the road, not just us, with the IVP down the road. I mean, honestly, we crossed that one out, but this is something that we're putting into our bylaws where it doesn't only apply to us. So, like Jones was talking about, I think we should think about a variety of things that comes across this table, not just specific ones that have came to us this semester or last semester.
Senator Brown.
Are you going to say?
Go ahead.
Okay, hold on. This conversation is happening. I called the question.
Oh, no, wait, I was gonna say something.
There's been a call to question. Is there a second? Senator Zister. A second. Second by Senator Zister. No discussion. We're going to vote on ending to vote. All those in favor of any discussion to move to vote, please raise your hands. We're voting on the amendment. Okay, it passes. All those in favor of approving this amendment, please raise your hands. Senator Jones, all those in favor of approving this amendment, please keep your hands up. Senator Jones, Senator Prado, to approve the approve the amendment for 2 minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 2 minute, 2 minute amendment.
I thought we were voting on that.
No,
Yeah, this is a 2 minute.
amended, seconded, we're discussion, vote. Vote approving 2 minutes. Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Scissor, Senator Mondo, and Senator Taylor. All those opposed? Senator Jones, Senator Daniels, Senator T, Senator Keys, Senator Cousteau, Senator Wong, Senator Gavin, and Senator Brown. Okay, amendment dies. Back to the discussion. 9 minutes. Senator Daniel.
Yeah, I think everything's just said. All questions.
Just don't say anything. Senator Cousteau.
I actually wanted to add and after chair.
Do you accept?
Where?
Do you accept? And after the chair.
Where? Like
After.
By the chair.
It says chair.
Do you accept?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Any more discussion? If you don't want to move to a vote, just keep your mouth shut, please. All right, thank you. All those in favor of approving bill number 60, please raise your hands. Senator Jones, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniels, Senator T, Senator Key, Senator Cousteau, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Taylor, Senator Gallon, Senator Brown. All those opposed? Vote aye. Senator Gray, Senator Prado, and Senator Zister.
I did accept the amendment, so it should say by the chair and have. I mean, I'm asking.
Okay. Yeah, bill number 60 passes. Bill number 61, municipal relations, introduced by Senator Zister. Senator Zister. Senator Zister. Senator Zister.
Motion to approve Bill 61, municipal relations.
There's been a motion to approve bill number 61. Is there a second? Senator Gannon.
Second.
Second by Senator Gannon. And committee reports, budget and finance.
We approve it with recommendations. We'd like to see about $2,000 cut from it.
Academic affairs. Approved. Student activities. Student advocacy.
Approved unanimously.
Okay. Senator Zister, you have now 5 minutes. Oh wait, never mind. Jared hasn't signed off on it. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. So, I hope you've all read the bill. I sent you guys all an email about what I want to change about the bill. I talked with Yusef, and we cut about 2,000 from it. So, right when we get out of this, I'm going to go and cut about, I'm going to make my amendments. I have about 3 I'm going to make, and it's going to cut about 2,500. So.
Okay, Khan. Khan. Senator Gray.
I don't see how taking 50 students to lunch out in Merced is going to be beneficial for anybody. I honestly don't see that. I know the argument was that not many students on campus know what off-campus looks like, and I think that's, I don't know what to even think of that. Merced is only 5 stops away, and really, how much is the food? It's like $1,000 to take them on the tour on Main Street. How long is that going to take? That Main Street is huge, right?
Is there a bill? Senator Zisser?
I think this is a good bill, but it needs some amendments, so I'm going to make them. The first friendly amendment is I wanted to cut the whole top portion. The UCSD says overall 900. I want to cut that, so just make that red to the right. Yeah, cut that off. And then if you go down to the very bottom of the table, there's the appreciation banquet. Take the last item. And I wanted to cut that to 1,000, so just make it read, 1,000. And just to add, the commissioner, Youssef, he forgot to include that it's not just a lunch. They also want to go to town hall, the civic center, the Merced Theater, the Stewart Hotel. So it's like a tour. He didn't tell me that. It's supposed to be like a 3-hour tour that he's trying to arrange. And then on top of that, the appreciation banquet, I want that to be read out, and have it read, ASUCM retreat follow-up banquet. Basically, he wants to follow up on what we did at the ASUCM retreat, so that way we can plan it more for next year, so we can have more insightful things to give to next year's senators. So when you're voting on that portion, I would just remember, it's not like a banquet, it's more of like a follow-up retreat, so that way we can, I guess, learn about what we're going to do for next year.
Senator Jones? Wait, so this is your amendment to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the final number is going to read $4,135.57.
Yeah.
Is it really necessary to spend money on an ASUCM retreat follow-up? I mean, we already spend money on a retreat. Is it necessary to spend more on the follow-up?
What Youssef was thinking was more in terms of like a big town hall just to finish up at the end of the, if it's April 27th, just kind of finish up this semester. So that way, because, well, I don't know about you, but when I first became a senator and like all the commissioners first got at their job, it took them a couple of months just to kind of learn what to do. And I think we should set some kind of precedent or set some kind of agenda so they can have something to look at, like something to follow through and think about. And so that's what I wanted to use that time. So I was hoping Steve, we could work with Steve on it because he helped a lot with the retreat. And we would use that $1,000 just for food to invite public and ASUCM to collaborate and make an agenda for next year.
Senator Wong?
I don't think it makes sense for the Senate to make an agenda for next Senate for the next 7 weeks. And the other thing is, along the lines of Senator Gary was that, not Gary, Emmanuel, is that for first-year students, first week of school, they do have that welcome event hosted by OSL where students do take tours of UC, or Merced, not UC Merced. So I think that is redundant on our part and not a good use of student aid.
Senator Gillen?
So in terms of the ASUCM retreat follow-up, making an agenda for the next Senate is something kind of like that could be accomplished through binders. What we said during the retreat was to pass on words of wisdom to the next senators, that they may take that into consideration, which would be very much, it would cost less basically than $1,000. In terms of students telling us about what they see wrong is the whole purpose of public forum during ASUCM Senate meetings. So I kind of see it as very redundant and $1,000 necessary.
Senator Gray?
I'm still very, I don't know, I'm still tripping down on the lunch at local restaurants, right? I don't know, we're spending $1,000 on transportation. Students already paid transportation fees to take them from campus to the Merced community back to their homes. So now we're going to use more of their fees to take them to where all the buses are normally take them. I don't know, does anybody see something wrong with that? I mean, we're kind of doubling up on the fees for transportation to a place where how many bus routes go to town?
Senator Daniel?
A possible suggestion would to have members of the ASUCM volunteer to drive couple students. Everyone that has cars, take a couple students. I'm pretty sure we can fit that much and just have that huge cost for gas. I mean, if we're trying to cut costs, that'd be more cost effective than spending $1,000 per bus. Instead, it would spend maybe $300 on gas. And ASUCM would help out another branch of ASUCM for the students. Just that.
Senator Gray.
I mean, we're talking about giving recommendations. We can just say, hey guys, free lunch in town. I'll meet you guys. Everybody meet up at noon, and everybody can take the bus and meet up at the library. I mean, somewhere downtown, and then continue the tour. Everything is at arm's reach. It's like what, two blocks of Merced. I mean, Senator Merced. It's like nothing.
Senator Gillen.
I agree with Senator Daniel. It doesn't really make that much sense to take more student fees and allocate it toward like something that Gray. I'm sorry, Daniel and Gray. About the whole transportation thing. Also, this is something that could be addressed with TAPS and Senator Gray's upcoming meeting with TAPS about like transportation costs and like also like making it extended to experience Merced at least for like incoming and transfer students, maybe their first day back. So yeah.
Senator Pardo.
Okay, question is for Senator Jarrett. Yeah, sorry.
It's hard to memorize you guys' names.
Yes. Okay, so this is mostly for the youth, like the UC students, instead of the field instead to like get closer, right? Okay, so I had a suggestion. You're making all of these events, but like, what if like you combine your local businesses with the UC community, like have like a business fair or something, like make them know each other. Like you don't have a banquet, like like host like a business fair or something where like it's a main street and UC students go. I don't know, like I honestly feel like this is not gonna bring the city closer to the UC campus. In my opinion.
Senator Jones.
I had a question, like what was the difference between like, because there's like two different meet and greets, community organizations meet and greet, then city council meet and greet, and then I know the argument was for the city council so we get to know who we're voting for, but about a third of the UC Merced population lives on campus, and because you live on campus, you're technically not in Merced, so you really can't vote for city council members, not saying that we should still be involved, but like, has he tried to outreach? Because actually, Michael Murphy, who's my lecturer for one of my classes, he's a city council member. Has he tried to like talking to him about something, or I don't know? I just feel like two separate meet and greets, and then I'm just not understanding what.
To answer your question, he didn't really mention that particular city councilman. He mentioned more like there was a couple sheriffs he wanted to come talk to.
Well, I was talking to one of my therapists, and I was asking him for ideas how to make the Merced city closer to the UC campus. And one thing that you said is have UC students attend the Merced the city meetings, where you can just go out there and but you tell them what the UC is up to, and then from there you learn what the city is actually doing. So have some better communication with the city and the UC. So I don't know if that's any good.
Senator Taylor.
Another thing too, if we're wanting to bring the community and UC Merced together, the city of Merced holds an annual Veterans Day every year. They did it, I know last year I was a freshman, and the volleyball, the athletics, they actually walk in it, whereas a bunch of other people, like schools and different people are in the parade and you walk down it. The city, like the main street is all packed. So that's like, it's just we need to get involved in things that they hold it, whereas, ASUCM can have like a truck and, people ride in and walk in and have a band or something and show our support with the community and stuff. So we just need to get involved in things that they do as well as, stuff like that. So that's just a suggestion.
Senator Brown.
Guys, you're tossing at the wrong dartboard. Why are you sitting here having conversations about what Yusuf can do, but you're not having those conversations with Yusuf? I know. So the whole point is about the funding. Like, just look at the funding and approve it or not. We don't need all these sides of the track conversations about what we can do. Those are better off the table.
Senator Zisser?
So about the ASUCM retreat, I kind of told Yusuf he should do that just because I thought it would be a good project for him. But seeing as most of the people in the talk was you guys didn't really think it was necessary, I'd like to take that off. So minus $1,000 from the total.
Any more discussion? Senator Husso?
I have a question for Senator Zisser. Who will be
making these events happen.
That is all for next year? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Whoever runs the municipal relations committee, hopefully keeps that up.
Senator Houston?
So I know the commissioners are elected annually, so it'll be different next year.
Senator Wong?
I have a question about the 5-day speaker. How does that, like, what's going on with that?
Oh, he just wanted to host something sometime next month. We'll have 5 different days that different speakers come on campus and have it like a whole week of it. That's how we'd advertise it, like almost like a campaign kind of thing. Versus the meet and greets were kind of just like a 1-hour event. So we want to have like a follow-up so you can continuously meet different people at the same time frame. That was the only, it was just like a kind of marketing thing.
Any more discussion? Senator Wong?
I just want to see how this is beneficial to the student, just because if the students, like I feel like if we aren't, as a campus, getting as involved as we could have with Merced, the community, how is it that by bringing these individuals and having food there, get the actual students to want to come to these events and bridge that gap if we're not participating?
Senator Brown?
How does any event get anyone to go to it? You put it out there and you say, hey, maybe you guys should come, and then they come or they don't come. They don't. You can't we can't put every student. We can't tie a ball and chain around every student's ankle and drag them to all these events. We just put things out there and we say, maybe you guys should come. And this is, if there's any way to get people to come, food is how you do it. So, you know. I mean, like you can't force it. Obviously, you can't force anyone to go to an event, but it's better than holding an event and it not going so well, or maybe you wonder about it is better than not hosting the event at all, because not hosting any of these events is definitely not going to improve our relations with the city.
Senator Gray?
I think the price is fantastic now. What, $3,100 from a $6,000 bill? I mean, I think we should take this to a vote over
Senator Mondo?
This is absolutely what Budget and Finance asked for. It's been cut to a great amount, and we need to do something with the community. It was big in last year's elections about a year ago about our relationship with the city. It can only serve as a good investment for us to continue to invest in improving relations with them.
Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving bill number 61, please raise your hands. Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniels, Senator Teese, Senator He, Senator Justo, Senator Zisser, Senator Mondo, Senator Taylor, Senator Gellin, Senator Brown. All those opposed? Senator Wong. Any abstentions? Okay. Bill number 61 passes. Okay, resolution number 12, the need for additional ASUCM space introduced by Senator Mondo.
I move to approve resolution number 12.
There's been a motion to approve resolution number 12. There's a second. Senator Gray.
Second.
Second by Senator Gray. Committee reports, Budget and Finance.
Approved.
Student advocacy.
Approved.
Student activities. Academic affairs.
Actually, don't think we discussed this bill.
Okay. Senator Mondo, 2 minutes.
President Brandon has made a point about how inadequate our space is, and so I partnered with him and some of the staff in order to write a resolution that could adequately, transmit our needs to the administration. What it sounds like from talking with Steve and Charles, they're doing their best to get us more space, but we're not going to get that space unless we actually try doing something ourselves. And because we don't like to protest or talk to them as much as we should, a resolution is the best thing we could possibly do. It shows support from ASUCM. And I met with Vice Chancellor Lawrence in order to go over what she'd like to see in something like this, because she's the one that sits on the committee. It's a bunch of the vice chancellors, and she's the one that's advocating for us to try and get more space. We've been stuck in that cubicle for a long time now. Our organization is growing a lot every year, and honestly, we could really use some extra space for Senate, for court, for the executives, for the numerous other positions that we have in our government. It's very necessary for our mission. In order to continue to do it well, we need space in order to actually do our work. Now, we find out those computers, but we need more space for ourselves to actually do our own thing in there.
Senator Gray.
Couldn't have said it better.
Senator Jones.
So from my understanding, when I, along with some other senators, we met with Vice Chancellor Lawrence and some other vice chancellors back in November about the 2020 project, we were promise, bigger space, because obviously we're not the only entity here that doesn't have adequate space. I was wondering, was it really necessary to do this right now? Because I understand that we don't have the space, but I mean, we could, sorry, but I understand that this space, okay, we say is inadequate, but I mean, we already have this in the works, so I just wasn't sure if it was necessary.
Senator Mondo?
It's completely necessary. Right now, we're up for College 1, down by the Acorn Room. And what this serves to do is, if this is taken to the Space Advisory Committee, they're going to see that we actively want this room, because there are other departments and other parts of the university that really want that space. And we're supposed to get a space in SSB, and we didn't. So now we're up for this space, and we need to show that we really actually want something, not just later, but now. Because if we don't do this now, I don't know when, and we don't get the space, I don't know when our next opportunity is that we're going to be able to get another space for us. It's kind of like we do this now, or we have to wait a long time for another building to open up so that we can get space there. So this might be the best time for us to do this.
Senator Daniel?
Thank you. So I serve on the committee that actually works on Project 2020, and something important to keep in mind is that it is Project 2020. It is 2014 right now. So that means in 6 years, we'll have Project 2020 completed in office space in a student-life building. But that's 6 years from now. Last year, we had 40 to 50 people in ASUCM, depending on what you count as being in the officership of ASUCM. And this year, we have over 160. And that was a conservative estimate that I kind of put out there. We work with quite a few people. We allocate over $1 million in funding. We represent all the students on campus. And I can't name a single entity on campus that has a more ramshackle little podunk office than we do. We are meant to try and be an effective representative for students. We need offices to meet in, we need a bunch of stuff to be able to represent students, and we don't even have space in there. It's unfair to Suzanne, who has to listen to us bicker in there and argue. It's unfair to all the people that have to use the office spaces around us. It's unfair to the students that basically until I got that microwave in there and that Facebook post, nobody knew where we were. And it's unfair to all of us for trying to put in so many hours that we have to use such a small little space. Space is constantly an issue. It's an issue for all the commissioners, it's an issue for my staff, it's an issue for all of you. We have 3 working computers, one that would be a better boat anchor than it is actually any functional piece of technology. And we don't even have space to add really another computer in there if we wanted to. We had another table, but it got taken because apparently it wasn't ours. Like, it's just, like the office space we have is so incredibly inadequate, it really does hinder us in doing any mission. I think the biggest thing is the university is like, well, we have a bunch of needs, and everyone's asking us stuff. I'll tell you, the people we're talking to control these committees. If they prioritized us, we would have a big space, and we don't. So I think we need to get a little bit louder. We need to say that this is something that we actually need. We're not being able to do our jobs very effectively because of this. Students don't know where we are. And you need to put us in a space that shows that you respect us. Because right now, I think that the space we've been put in shows that we're not respected as an entity on campus.
Senator Pardo?
I feel like there's other issues that we should focus on instead of space. Yeah, I understand we need space, but I mean, I walked in there with one of my friends to get a lunch. She actually didn't know where it was, and I guided her there. And one thing she did mention was like, this is your office, like it's messy. So I feel like we should start by having it fixed and organized. Like maybe if it was organized better, there'll be more space. And then I know a lot of people want to socialize there. And for me personally, I don't go to the office, I'm mostly in the library. And my friends go up to me at the library, and I'm not a cubicle. When people see you out there, like maybe the lantern, the library, they'll probably approach you better. Or not better, but like more often, instead of hiding the cubicle, because like you said, nobody knows where it is. But honestly, I feel like there's bigger issues to focus on than fighting for space.
Senator Mundos?
When it comes to focusing on bigger issues, it's basically our job to get something like this passed, and once this is passed, then President Brandon can do his job better of advocating for us. So, and he's an effective job of splitting his time amongst advocating for many things. So this is an issue we can spend time on. I don't see any other resolutions on the table aside from the master plan. We're not focusing on anything else right now, so I think we do have time for this. And above that, if you do walk into the office, it's cramped. We have that huge chalkboard now that apparently is ours, and Steve writes his messages on it.
No.
Yes. No. So we do need more space, if anything, just so we can store some of the stuff that we have. And in order for us to grow, we're going to need more places to. And this is like this is our chance. If we don't do something now, I don't know when it is. I don't know how long let's wait again in order to get a good space that's suitable for our needs. It might be when we get a new building. It might be when we get our student union finally. Who knows when that's going to be? I don't know. But the thing is, we have an opportunity now. Let's take it now that we can actually act on this.
Senator
I do have a couple amendments Jane asked me to make in order to make this, in order to make it more applicable to the actual advisory committee that looks over this stuff. She said it would, with these edits, it should make it have a bit more of an impact. So some of these are going to be kind of small, but they will be helpful, I take it, from what she tells me. So in, I think, the third line of the background, it says, where is it? It's, oh yeah, can you go up to the background? Okay, it says conception in the third line, it can say inception. Conception has the wrong connotation. The third line. The third line of the first paragraph. Yeah, I should say inception. Sorry. Okay, and then in the first line of the third paragraph, instead of thankful, appreciative. I mean, I said thankful, appreciative. I just want to say as much traction as possible from the people we'll be sending this to, and especially we send it in the best form possible. And I like the edit she wanted to make. Let's see. Now, if you go down to the third line, you see we do not. Can you replace we do with the university does? And then it should say down, farther down, strike out university next to facilities. Up 2 lines, down one more, next to unlimited, to go to the right. Yeah, there. Strike out university, not facilities. And then the concern she brought up was down on the first line of the fourth paragraph says university administration. That doesn't say where this needs to go. Can you replace university administration with the space advisory committee? Because that is the specific part of the university that this resolution has to go to. First line of the fourth, one paragraph down, university administration. Can you replace that with space advisory committee? I just have 3 more changes, small changes to make. And then you can strike out university also, once you finish this. Okay, can you go down to the purpose and replace demand with strongly urge? Be a little bit tactful with this.
Who is this? Who are you talking to about this?
Jane Lawrence. And then the Space Advisory Committee instead of the administration. Strong missionary. And then the instead of the administration, can you put Space Advisory Committee? Yeah.
Is that everything?
There's 2 more changes in the be it resolves to just say the exact same thing as that. Strongly urge and Space Advisory Committee.
Okay, I should take President.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And then that'll be all for the actual edits. And then I was also asked that President Brandon send this directly to Vice Chancellor Feidelberg, who's the chair of the committee. Should we pass it? All right, and then the be it resolved, the first be resolved needs to read the exact same. And then demand and the second be resolved should say just urge. And then that is it for my edits. So again, I do urge you guys to vote yes on this. This is very important to ASUCM, whether it seems small or not. We're growing, and we're going to need the space to grow. So, and administration needs to hear our voice. We don't protest really, so this is how we tell administration what we really want. Thank you.
Senator Disser.
So I just want to address Marisol and Dominique's point. So I'm a member of the Leadership Outreach Committee, and so our job is to attract people to ASUCM. And sometimes it's kind of hard to attract them when they don't think we're very powerful. We don't actually make a difference. And I think having a strong, like a setting, like some kind of space that makes us look not cramped like Bill and Kern have, I think that'll make our commission's job a lot easier because it'll make students believe that we actually do have it together and we do have enough space to actually function.
What? Strongly urge to demand in the first be it resolved.
First be resolved, strongly urged.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Senator Mondo?
One last thing I did forget to say earlier. Students sometimes want to have conversations about things that affect them and we sit right next to administration. And so it's very difficult for them to have candid conversations about issues that affect them when they fear that they could have people that are university employees listening in on them and they don't necessarily want to go to ombuds or something like that. They want to go to us because we're the representatives. So having private space with an actual door, so we don't have to reserve meeting rooms all the time, will do a lot towards helping students feel more comfortable inside our meeting space. They can discuss what their issues candidly.
Discussion? Senator Husto?
I just want to make sure that this is sent to administration as polished as possible. So in regard to just having all the respect for East Berkeley, I think let's just spell it right, and also just get a spell check on that. There's some red squiggly lines on some. Sorry, it was a flower requirement.
Discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving Bill 62, please raise your hands. Resolution 12. Resolution 12, please raise your hands. Keep them up high. Senator Gray, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniels, Senator T, Senator He, Senator Huso, Senator Zisser, Senator Mondo, Senator Wong, Senator Taylor, Senator Garland, Senator Brown. All those opposed? Senator Jones and Senator Prado. Abstentions? Okay. Resolution 12. Yeah, resolution number 12 passes. Bill number 63, the AA District Tour, introduced by Senator Prado. Senator Prado? Oh. Okay, bill number 63 dies. Bill number 64, Delta Epsilon Mu Spring into Health, introduced by Senator Husto. Senator Husto?
A motion to approve Bill 64.
There's been a motion to approve Bill number 64. Is there a second? Senator Garland?
Second.
Second, Senator Garland. Okay, since it wasn't independent legislation, obviously. Senator Husto? So we're going to know the reports. You have 2 minutes.
I think that all the things that I want to talk about were specified in the bill already. So I just wanted to say that this DAM event has it epitomizes bold innovations that a significant sector of our campus holds. The School of Natural Sciences holds approximately 1/3 of student campus, and health is a majority or a significant part of it. And Delta Epsilon Mu has contacted various health organizations and has opened this up as a community service volunteer event for other organizations such as Alpha Phi Omega and Rotaract and whatnot. And the list is still counting. With regard to actually securing the funds that they need for the event, it would be good to have this bill passed. It stewards student enterprise and health and definitely community outreach.
Do you guys have it? You guys have it, right? Senator Wong?
Is this the same event that was asked at
Senator Husto? Senator Wong?
Can you remind us about the
Yeah, I'm not sure what the gentleman over there was talking about community engagement. What I vetoed it on was that for what was being claimed as the event, the proposal didn't have very much information, and the ICC proposal format just does not allow for really a lot of like ledgers, explanations to the volunteers. So I felt that it needed more info on that. And if I can make a comment, I think it is actually a great bill. Arguably, I think the best I've seen this year as far as all the info that's put into it. I think this actually kind of sets an example. What I'd really like to see from bills is the volunteer list, the budgets and quotes and stuff. It looks really good. So nothing about the event. It was only that I didn't have enough info to approve, but now I do. I like it a lot. 10%, that's it.
Discussion? Senator Gray?
So are we, are you asking for funding for food for non-students or for students? Because from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. you're doing volunteer food.
So all of the food, funding for food that you're requesting will go to students only.
Senator Brown?
I motion to amend the bill to lower the allocation to $1,927.80 to keep it a 10% cut.
I didn't hear.
Can you say louder?
I amend the bill down to $1,927.80 to keep it the 10% cut.
Point of information, it clearly states after, I think this is Appendix D, that the DEM contribution is $650 and the total cost of the event is actually $2,792. So all they're requesting from ASUCM is $2,142. Therefore, $279.20 has already been in the DEM contribution, and therefore it's like more than 10% actually what they're contributing.
You send your motion? Yeah. Okay, is there any more discussion? Okay, we're moving to a vote. All those in favor of approving bill number 64, Downtown Epsilon to Muse Spring into Health, introduced by Senator Huso, please raise your hands. Keep them up high. Senator Jones, Senator Gray, Senator Prado, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniel, Senator Tees, pass unanimously. Okay, resolution number 11, reform for the master plan of higher education, introduced by Senator Daniel. Senator Daniel.
I move to approve resolution number 11.
What? Okay, there's been a motion to approve resolution number 11. Is there a second? Senator Galen?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Galen. Committee reports, budget and finance.
Right, this was unanimously approved.
Academic affairs.
We didn't get to discuss it. It wasn't on pending legislation by the time.
When do you get?
We meet tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Well, now I uploaded them. Now they're uploaded right now. Like new business uploaded right now. Student activities.
We didn't vote on this because at the time we didn't have very much information about it. We wanted more.
Student advocacy.
It was disapproved 3-1 because they wanted a recommended change to whereas number 6.
Senator Daniel, you have 2 minutes.
Hey, Austin. This is the resolution. The resolution talks about the call for the change to the master plan. As President Brandon and many members of the public have stated, about 3 or 4 times, the current master plan drafted in 1960 is ignored greatly by the state of California, as well as it doesn't account for the representation of students today. It doesn't account for the undocumented students. It doesn't account for the lack of diversity on the campus. It doesn't account for the fact that when it was originally drafted, there was a call for no tuition, but that was changed. But I'm not really going to spend too much time into this, given the fact that I am the doubt of reading Jefferson's report on this. This has been passed at UC Santa Cruz. This was passed at UC Santa Cruz. This is a UCSA resolution. Adequate information has been provided, and I would like to do a report to Keezer to add a bit on this resolution.
Well, like I said, I don't know what else can be said. I mean, obviously we are aware that our master plan in California is outdated, and I don't know if you mentioned this, but our current master plan does not account for technology. And obviously technology is a big part of education now and higher education. So it's time for the state of California to start thinking of a new creation of a new master plan. And we're not creating a master plan, we're calling for one. So that's all I have to say. I know Cousin Bradley has more to say.
Oh, you can't know the authority of our.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying. I know, but what do you think?
Any more discussion? Senator Zisser?
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to remove whereas 6, only because I did some research on some information. Because if you look at whereas 6, it says that 660 African American students are currently enrolled at UCLA, and the point of bringing that up, I think, was to make us feel like we're not very diverse. But if any of you have ever looked up all the quick facts about UCLA, like all the demographic information, and all the demographic information of California, blacks make up about 6.6%, and at UCLA they make up 3.8%. And if you look at, like, for example, like Latinos make up 18%, but in the state they make up 38%. So I mean, it's all messed up. So I think whereas 6 is kind of skewed. Why it's only representing blacks when whites, Latinos, Asians, and whites are actually all distorted. So I don't think we should pick out one, because I think that makes our UC look kind of weird. Just pick out one if all 4 are disproportional.
Do you accept?
No.
Okay. Is there a second? Senator Gray. Second by Senator Gray. Discussion. Senator Gallen.
I was under the impression that this entire resolution was specifically by verbatim from the other resolutions from the other UCs, so thereby canceling out whereas number 6 doesn't really make much sense because we're supposed to stand in unity with the other UCs for this resolution.
Senator Mondo.
And we are standing in unity with them, except that I do believe that that one is kind of, that one whereas sticks out in this one. And above that, I don't think it really furthers the goal of this too much, picking out one specific minority group and talking about their numbers when the disproportionate number of minorities, that problem affects every single minority at every single level of the university, the CSU system, as well as the community college system.
Senator Daniel.
Thank you. So I understand the sentiment. I think the resolution could be changed enough to remove the statistic. I asked them don't take out whereas 6. Part of the point of the master plan being looked at right now is that it does not have any tenet for diversity in it. And that is something that by students, faculty, and staff has been something that we do support at the UC from whatever perspective we have about it, generally that we believe diversity is a good thing here. Also that there has been a current and historic lack of diversity in that. I mean, we see differences, but that it does not, basically the underlying point is it does not reflect the demographics of California. If you took out the UCLA 660 specific thing for one specific community, I don't think that would destroy the resolution, but I ask that you try to put it back together, so whereas 6's main point, that we care about diversity and it doesn't have anything that accounts for that, will be addressed.
Senator Zisser?
So I would like to, can I rescind my motion and make a new motion?
Yeah.
So I'd like to rescind my friendly amendment and make another friendly amendment to just take out the portion of whereas 6 that says, as evident by in fall 2012, the total enrollment for undergraduate for African American males at UCLA was 660. So just that part of that sentence, I would like to take out that.
You accept? Wait, what?
Point information would make more sense to have it from there is a current historic lack of diversity to the 660 students. So
yeah, I motion to do what you just suggested. Okay, I rescind my motion and make the motion to take out the sentence from there is a current to the 660.
Do you accept?
Yes.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, we move to a vote. All those in favor of approving resolution number 11, reform for the master plan of higher education, please keep your hands up. Give them up high. Approved unanimously. It's deleting everything from there is a strong movement, right?
Yeah, just from there is to students.
Just that sentence.
No.
The other one, the second
After
sentence.
California.
Yeah.
To 600 students. Okay, can you bring up the agenda really quick? Okay, bill number 57, student services, introduced by Senator Brown. Senator Brown? Senator Brown? There's been a motion to approve bill number 57. Is there a second? Senator Gallen?
Second.
Okay, committee reports, budget and finance.
We chose not to reapprove it necessarily, as we'd already had the discussion, but we didn't have time to make specific edits to it, though we did like to have the discussion that, well, we felt that a lot of the language still wasn't substantial, but we didn't necessarily have the time to meet a second time in order to find what kind of substantial language I could put inside of it.
Academic first.
We approve.
Student activities.
Same as it was discussed before.
Student advocacy.
We wanted to know what, if Adam had taken our comments of last week and changing the wording. And also, one of the senators didn't get the difference between an RCO and a student service, so it was disapproved.
Senator Brennan, 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, first, you guys said change the wording around, make it more official. I mean, the wording it officially is just trying to seal up holes in it. And I've read it over 30 times. I've come up with a couple of specific things, amendments by Senator Gray and President Brandon. They had some specific amendments for things that were, and I was for those. But honestly, I mean, saying, you know, make it more official is just, it's, if it says what it needs to say, and I think it does because I've read it over a million times, and I honestly can't figure out exactly what everyone's specific concerns are for it. I have a few amendments I'm going to put to it, but I really can't figure out what people's concerns are about this specifically. And if you can't bring up specific concerns, we've had this discussed for 2 weeks already, actually 3 weeks. And I mean, I hope you guys have all read it. Someone brought up the thing that, you know, someone didn't understand the difference between an RCO and a student service. If you've read Appendix B, that entire document is dedicated to elaborating ad nauseum the difference between a student service and an RCO. I made that distinction incredibly clear. That's why there are 2 examples there. I really hope you guys actually read this through and actually looked at it. If you want to make the language more official, I don't see the point in making it more official as long as it does what it needs to do in an efficient way. I created this specifically so that it would be a process that isn't incredibly restricting, and it provides for what it needs to provide for without putting a noose around anyone's neck. If you feel that that's a problem, then we have a fundamental disagreement about how this process should be made.
Senator Mondo?
The reason why we write in the way we write it is that, yes, exactly, we close up any possible potential loopholes. Also, it's just there's a certain professionalism you expect from a document like this. And I'm not saying this is unprofessional, I'm just saying some parts read a little bit awkward, like Article 4, the road to ASUCM. That doesn't really sound like bylaws. And above that, it had a few concerns like, specifically, it's up to the president's discretion to appoint commissioners. If the president, and it's happened this year, a president chose not to reappoint a commissioner and create a commission. Therefore, what happens if he chooses not to appoint a commissioner on student services within the time period for appointing a commissioner? And above that, and when you go far, and I do like that you try to create a broad pathway, but I think you created the pathway too broad, and I don't think there are enough actual milestones to hit that you have to, or enough specifics that you have to actually include in your plan to become a student service. And also, I felt like Article 5, the benefits of a student service, is like more or less something we should have on our website. It doesn't necessarily belong in the bylaws because it doesn't govern the use of any of our powers, that section. It's based, I think, on a waste of words.
I'm just kind of confused as to how a student service operates because I know I was in the Prodigy, and I'm pretty sure I was student service, but in the Prodigy, there's times where if we didn't get enough marketing revenue, we couldn't print, and I think printing is a basic service, but yet we could afford to go on conferences. So I like to yield the floor to Valerie Smart if she's willing to talk to explain like the problems with student service, like how you can print.
So we're basically a business. We just get funding from ASUCM for conferences and conventions, which is where we do the bulk of our learning on how to write journalistically, other than teaching each other. Is there like what's? You just want to talk about the struggles? We couldn't print because we're a business and we have to sell ads in order to make money to send to the printer to get a paperback. So basically, you know, if we're not trained to sell, like to buy and sell like business people, because you know it's not just about writing and photos, it's about business and getting advertisements and revenue, then we can't make a paper. And so I don't know if that answers the question about being a student service or not, if we're not fully funded, but at the same time, as a newspaper, we have to keep our own integrity and not just like pander to what other people want us to do. So that's kind of a little wrinkle.
Senator Zisser?
So the reason why I asked to prove that point, that like when we were struggling and we couldn't print, that's the basic function of the newspapers, to print newspapers. And the ASUCM didn't help us. I hadn't seen anything in these bylaws that said that that would help in a situation like that, where student service is struggling. You know, they should, I think, get more priority since they were student service and they're set apart from an RCO. And so I just want the bylaws to reflect that.
Senator Brown.
Okay, first off, I'm just going to put in the changes that were there before from you and Brandon. So I have a few changes. So, Article 2.
You want to just email her that draft that you have?
Okay.
Instead of, yeah, and we'll see it up on here. Senator Daniel?
One question I did want to ask you, Senator Brown.
Yes.
Does it address Article, I want to say 9.1 at all? Because Article 9.1 is the student services governance, and it basically defines two types of student services. Independent agency, like the law clinic, which is established through a bylaw, has their own set of bylaws, they have their own autonomy. ASUCM funds them as long as what they're doing is for the students.
No, in the changes that I have, I'm putting right now, it defines them as technically under those bylaws they would be an independent service, because a dependent service is technically like a committee or a council or something like that. But this is not for ones that may already be a service. This is for things that are an RCO now, or that are going to be an RCO in the future and wish to become a service. That's what it's for. It's not to govern the Prodigy. The Prodigy doesn't take the brunt of their costs from us for their printing. Like they just said, we don't pay for their printing. The law clinic, they're already set up. This is for RCOs that are an RCO right now that wish to become a student service. It sets up a process for them, and basically the budget that they have, how far they go with ASUCM, what obligations they have to ASUCM, what obligations we have to them, is all defined in what I've changed, which is a memorandum of understanding written by the president. That's one of the recommendations. It's one of the changes that I have. It's going to be a memorandum instead of a contract. That was wrong. But basically, everything about their service to ASUCM is defined in that memorandum of understanding. This is just a way for them to become a student service. And for the other things, the whole point of these bylaws to guarantee them a place in ASUCM as a student service is so that they can perform. They are evaluated so that they perform well and they have the general approval of the students. They have the necessary number of people to perform their duties. They have a duty that counts as a student service, and the funding that we give them specifically allows them to perform their duties. They can acquire funding from elsewhere. That's what the Prodigy does. The less funding they require from us, that means maybe we have a little less power over them, but that means that we're not necessarily giving them as much to them in the first place. So we don't have grounds to hold dominion over them. But if you're talking about like how they're supposed to, what will happen if they can't get the money? Well, I mean, if they don't ask the money, if it's not in the MOU that they don't get the money to perform those duties, then that's on them that they can't perform because they can't raise their own money. If they decide to go out on their own and create their own money, revenue creating sources, and decide to raise all their funds to perform their duties off of that money, then that's up to them. And that's up to them and the president to write an MOU that outlines that. That's what their agreement with ASUCM is. That's what their dynamic is. If their dynamic is going to be that we're going to give them all the money that they need, then obviously they're going to be very beholden to us because we're giving them funding for absolutely everything. But if we're giving them funding for almost nothing, then the MOU will reflect that they're not really beholden to us. This is just a way for them to become part of ASUCM. If you guys please come with specific, this has been out for 3 weeks.
if you have specific changes, please give them to me. Please give them to me. Don't just say, this wording is a little less official than I want it to be, because that's not helpful in any way. It's incredibly frustrating that for 3 weeks I've had these out. I worked on these for a very long time. Sure, fine, it may not be, it may not be written to the highest legal standard, but honestly, as long as it says what it needs to say, I don't think it needs to be written to the highest legal standard that there is in the world. This doesn't have to be something that a PhD of law can twirl his mustache at and say, oh, I understand this, but no one else does. This is something that people are supposed to be able to understand. And if you can't understand it, I wrote it simply so you could understand it, and I hope you can understand it. Basically everything here is defined. I have changes, obviously. But things are defined pretty well. And if you can't understand it, then I hope you read it, because I'm going to deadline.
Senator Zisser?
So I just had a question. So let's say this does pass. So is Valerie with the Prodigy, does that mean that she never has to raise funds again because the thing says that we support every endeavor of the Prodigy? Or?
Senator Brown, would you like to answer?
Or fine, Senator Gray would like to answer.
You guys just want to make his changes. I have talked to him. I will upload the changes I've made, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will include some of the changes I requested from him, as well as the president has to make changes. So let him update the bill, because another one you guys are looking at, I would have said no, and but with the changes that I hope he took advice that he's going to make it the changes. Let's wait to see what's going to happen, and then judge it.
You didn't come out.
Hold on, this didn't put in, some of the things got killed, so I have to re-put in those real quick. Can I get a point of privilege for 5 minutes?
Yeah. Is it a point of privilege for 5-minute recess?
All right.
Oh, this place is really filled.
Did you see Valerie?
One of the bees up over here. I don't know. Yeah, we don't have one by literally.
I forgot to.
Basically just says and I changed it. I think it says Jonathan.
Oh, yeah, you left the dental's done. And we see with no discussion on the fact that there's like a crap ton of volunteers that they're calling on the head.
Just bring the bill up on my iPad. I couldn't do anything. I saw what's going yesterday.
There's like 5 there are asking for like 240 volunteers. That's so
Stop it. It says yes, I'll trust one. Boom! Since you commented on it, we're editing it. I remember reading over it.
I know.
What's his idea?
He's just like a campaign. Heard up on video.
For us, like, the earlier the way it goes is bagel. You take your day. You take I asked that. I'm just worried that first time, do you know what?
Okay, yeah.
What am I doing?
And then
So mad. Zach was Daniel. I am not.
Does anybody have any legislative comment? I don't want any executive comment. Can I get some gum? She already offered. She's already getting it out. Also, it's Thanksgiving.
Can I get spearmint?
Well, spearmint, hold on.
Peppermint. Alright, she already offered. She already got it out. I feel bad if you're going to put it away now.
You're obligated.
Someone took like a quarter of a piece of
No, that's okay.
Oh, thank God.
Return to the table. Turn to the table, please. The faster you guys get here, the faster we can. Okay, everyone. Can you hear me clap once? Okay.
So I'm just going to go through the changes, remove blues, remove dependent because they're technically going to be considered independent services.
You send this to everybody?
No, I just figured it would show up here. Okay, go to the next change, I guess. Okay, it is within the discretion of the Commissioner of Student Services whether he or she believes the organization meets these criteria and may make a recommendation as to Senate as to his discretion.
Hey, can everybody look up here? Because these are the changes that you guys are so
Yeah. As to his or her discretion, according. So this means that the commissioner, though the commissioner may recommend Senate not approve the organization, their commissioner's approval, however, is not mandatory for the organization to become services. So, just in case the commissioner may be a tad or incredibly biased towards an organization, that doesn't negatively hinder, that doesn't like bar the organization from becoming a service. Though, however, it is still need to be approved by Senate, obviously. The next one says that once the student service has been approved, they are to work out a memorandum of understanding with the ASUCM president to be approved by ASUCM Senate. So, the president and the organization work out a memorandum of understanding that outlines their entire dynamic with ASUCM. Because I don't want to set up a specific dynamic that's going to happen with every single organization. Because these student services, we're probably not going to see like 5 every year. We're going to see one in a very long time, and even then it might slow down after a while. But every organization could be so radically different that there's no point in setting up overarching, wide sweeping laws that govern each one of them, because each organization is going to be run very, very differently. And even if the organizations are similar, even if you have 2 similar organizations, they could still have a leadership that runs their organization in a very different dynamic. So I at least don't want to set up a very specific set of rules for each organization. That's to be thought out on the spot between them and the president, and then obviously approved by Senate because it's an MOU. It expires and is to be renewed no more than every 3 years from the creation of the student service, so that you can't create a memorandum and then hold them to that in perpetuity. No more than every 3 years. They can renew it every year if they want. If they feel that there's a really bad thing in that MOU and it crops up the first year, they can renew it. They can change it. But it has to be done at least every 3 years. It can't go over a year. It can't go over 3 years. And it says in the definitions, the memorandum expires, it voids all parts of that memorandum to make sure that if ASUCM wants anything out of the organization, and it's also in the organization's interest to be renewing this memorandum if they want anything from Senate as well. Because that memorandum also outlines what they are supposed to get in the budget, or at least a range of things that they might get in the budget, of course. Okay, so if you want to change the name, the road days, I created that because I wanted it to be easier to read, easier to understand, like this is what, this outlines the road to ASUCM. If you want to change it, fine, give me ideas. But honestly, if you're gonna argue with me over that, that's a really minute change that has no difference in the structure of these bylaws. It's just a name. That's it. The benefits of student service, again, this is just so ASUCM doesn't try and, what's the word? Short sell an organization on something that they might not know everything about. When they become a student service, they might not completely understand all the benefits for it. And this outlines some very basic benefits for them. Created on these bylaws should be classified as independent services. That's one thing I put in there because a dependent service, as it's stated in the financial bylaws, is a council or a commission or something like that. It doesn't necessarily allow, at least from what I read, doesn't allow specific organizations to become a student service. Yeah. So
They're guaranteed a spot in the budget with a section entitled Student Services, amount to be determined by the contract outline in such bylaws. They are unable to obtain money from ICC because they're not an RCO anymore. That's, yeah. Student services shall be granted the full backing of ASUCM and all its necessary and proper activities and expenditures. I put that in there as Senator Gray voiced some concern about it before, because if you create a student service, you should back them in the things that they do. We can't tell an RCO to go, or we can't tell a student service to go do something and then leave them out to dry when maybe what we asked them to do could be a little controversial. We give them our backing when we ask them to go do something, and when they do something, they represent us. We give them our backing. Obviously, it's all necessary and proper activities, so if it's not a necessary activity and it's not a proper activity for the student service to be doing, then we don't approve of it. That's very simple, and they can be amended by a 2/3 vote of ASUCM Senate. If you see any problems with any of these bylaws, please voice them now. Because as far as I can tell, these bylaws are pretty well enough defined as I want them to be. It's a general process. Yes, and that is the point. That's the whole point of the spirit of these bylaws. I created them to be a general process that outlines general qualities for an organization to exemplify to become a service. It gives them a person to go to that can turn them into a service, or at least can evaluate them as a student service. It does not mandate that person's approval, and it does not even mandate necessarily their existence. It just says that they're there to evaluate and be a liaison between ASUCM and student services. Again, a bill through Senate is all that is needed to turn them into a service. It's basically the same thing that there is now. This just outlines benefits, qualities that we want to see in these organizations, definitions for what the organization should be, and what those qualifications mean. That's what the secondary document is. It goes ad nauseum into my distinctions between an RCO that is just an RCO and shouldn't be a service, and an RCO that can be a student service. If you read that, you would understand my distinction. At least I hope so, because I really, really went into a ton of detail about it.
Any more discussion? Senator Lister?
So on the last one, that's viewable on that thing, it says, and all its necessary and proper activities and expenditures. So just to restate my last question, so if the prodigy wants to print out, does that mean that they can go to ASUCM and just automatically receive funds for all their printing needs?
Senator Brown?
No, well, first off, these bylaws wouldn't necessarily govern the prodigy, because these are RCOs that are turned into student services. The prodigy is already very independent of us, and if they wanted to, they could write a memorandum of understanding with us. And in that MOU, if they said, we can come to you to get printing money, then yes, they can come to us to get printing money. But obviously, that would be a line item transfer that the Senate would have to approve anyway. So, they can't just automatically come and take money out. They have a line item. That's how funding appropriations are made. They're made through line items. So, if they wanted money, yes, they could come and ask for it, but obviously they would have had to have written an MOU with Senate. Or, if they haven't written an MOU with Senate, if they haven't written an MOU with the President that outlines how they interact with Senate and ASUCM, then we are not beholden to give them any of that money. As it stands, we can give the prodigy all of the budget if we want to. We can transfer $800,000 into the prodigy's line item. At the moment, we can do that. And we can still do that under these bylaws. It just says that they would have an MOU with us, if they so please, to outline what we expect of them and what they expect of us.
Senator Brown? Senator Gray? Gary, or me?
Gary? Yeah, so I mean, if you guys read these, I don't know, can we go back up so everybody can look at like a lot of the changes? I understood some of Zach's concerns as far as what he mentioned earlier. I don't remember what he said about, I had it in my head, I just don't remember how to say it, but he said something about accountability. I feel like this already has enough checks. When you first looked at this bill, or this, what is this called? Bylaw change? There was not enough checks in here. The president pretty much can do what he wanted to, and I was like, that is absolutely unacceptable. Anything the president does must and always has to be checked by Senate. as well as our expenditures and stuff. I didn't like the way it was written before. Now it says if needed. If it goes through the budget, it needs to be approved by everybody. It needs to be approved by the Senate, approved by the treasurer before any expenditure is done. And at the end of the year, if you don't want to give them that same amount of money or they're not successful, you can just cancel them out. As you said, you can cancel the MOU and it's over and you don't have to use the service anymore. So there's enough checks here to give this a test run. We don't have anything like this at all. But we do have some students here, some services like Bobcat Van Graham that are really interested in becoming a student service. And I think it's time to give it a little test run and to see how it's going to work. It's enough. There's enough back in here to make sure that we can eliminate this if we wanted to. But I think we need to test this. I really feel like we need to test something like this. If you guys, like he said, you guys honestly feel like some of these things don't make any sense, you want some clarity, now's the time, and asking questions, we can make this work. That's what we're here.
Senator Daniel?
So two things. One, for Article 3.1,
Article 3.
It's a bit redundant to say the Commissioner on Student Services as appointed by the President of ASUCM and approved by Senate. Any appointment process by ASUCM has to be approved by Senate. We have bylaws separate from that. And two, is there anything in there that mentions like calls for maybe having a petition from the club in question requesting to become a student service of maybe 50+1 of all members of that club? That would, like, basically what I'm saying is, could you add something in there that basically says, for one of the qualifications, 50% plus one of the membership of the RCO in question has to sign it, understanding that once it becomes student services, they're no longer under OSL, they're no longer under Jim Greenwood, and they lose almost a good amount of support that they have as under Jim Greenwood, because since they're a student service, they're under ASUCM, not OSL, meaning that any problems they have to come to us, not OSL. Because that's been, when I had a conversation with Jim Greenwood about student services, this is something that he's brought up. Anytime an RCO becomes a student service, like the Laughlin, for example, they have to come for us for any like information, like anything. If they need help with anything, they have to come to us. They can't go to OSL because they're not under OSL policies anymore. They're under us. So in order for a club to commit to become a student service, there should be a unanimous agreement amongst all membership saying, hey, by becoming a student service, we lose our RCO status.
Yeah. That sounds.
Senator Brown?
Motion to extend time by 10 minutes.
Motion to extend time by 10 minutes. Is there a second? Senator Gray? Second by Senator Gray. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Senator Brown?
Okay, that's reasonable. Wording it. Well, first off, sure, you can remove in 3.1 as appointed by the President, approved by ASUCM Senate. Go from as appointed to Senate Commissioner. Sure, I'll let you go, guys. Go.
Senator Gray?
I don't know. I feel like I know it sounds redundant, but I really think we should keep it. Somebody at this table today had some information that, I'm just saying, Zach, you were surprised when somebody told you that the ICC bylaw said this. So I feel like somewhere down the road, someone's going to read these bylaws and say, oh, wait, you don't have to be approved by Senate, even though it says in another bylaw that it has to be approved by Senate. So you went through that same mistake today, and if we do it right now, someone later down the road is going to make the same mistake. Even though it sounds redundant, I feel like it's necessary to avoid such conflict.
Senator Jones?
Just a point of information. While I do agree that the clubs should probably all approve or agree to become a student service, it's not entirely accurate that they lose all support of OSL. They're not an RCO, that is true. Jim's office, clubs and organizations, doesn't support him. But OSL still supports everything that ASUCM does. If you look at OSL's website, ASUCM is a function of the Office of Student Life. You're on our website, you have a direct link to your website. Your advisor is a part of the Office of Student Life as the assistant director. So every function of ASUCM is supported by OSL, and if anybody in OSL tells you otherwise, we can have a conversation, because that's not accurate. We just don't allow ASUCM to take out the tables, because we just don't have enough tables for what you all want to do, so we ask you to buy your own table. But in terms of printing and support and staffing and all that stuff, we still support ASUCM activities if you need our help. ASUCM just doesn't ask all that much for that type of support, but I do agree that they are not an RCO if they become a student service. That is true. So they don't get that assistance.
Sorry, Daniel?
I think you misunderstood me. It should just say the commissioner of the student service as appointed by the president of ASUCM. And approved by ASUCM Senate is just a redundant clause. Because all bylaws, we have bylaws for appointments. So I'd like to make a friendly amendment to restate as appointed by the president of ASUCM.
Sure. Okay, so what you were saying before about
Senator Brown.
Okay, so what you're saying before about adding in a section, that would be in go down to section 4 or article 4. I think it'd be so can you add in another section between 2 and 3? Make it a section, the next section 3. Organizations must prove that at least a majority of their membership understands that their position as a student service precludes them from funding from ICC, and or hold on, how would you like to be worded?
I would just say organizations must provide a document that shows to their support of their organization's membership that supports them forsaking their title as an RCO and adopting the criteria, the status of a student service under ASUCM.
Organizations must provide a document that proves, I think at least a majority would be better. At least a majority of their membership, proves that at least a majority of their membership understands their rights and restrictions as a student service as opposed to an RCO, and approves of their transition to becoming a student service.
Any more discussion? Senator Husto?
I think the memorandum should be put under scrutiny by the Senate before it's written after it was approved. So you need to put that in section. Article 4, Section 5. I feel that if the memorandum is something that should be worked out, and it dictates the extent to which an organization serves ASUCM's position as a service and is eligible for recognition. I feel like that should proceed.
Daryl, I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yeah. So Article 4, Section.
Article 4, Section what?
Could you scroll down?
You scroll down.
Yeah. So it's Section 6. I feel that the memorandum should be seen by Senate before it's approved as a student service. So is there, I don't know, I wanted to feel it to the table. What do you think about that?
Senator Gray?
What do you mean, like you want to move that entire thing above?
No, he believes the memorandum should be under scrutiny of the Senate before it's approved.
I see what you're saying.
As a student service.
Senator Daniel?
I would just like to point out to everyone refer to Article 4, Section 1.g of the Constitution. The President has the sole authority to create memorandums of understanding or legally binding contracts on behalf of ASUCM subject to only by the ratifications by 2/3 majority vote of the senators president. So any memorandum of understanding is written by the president and it has to be approved by Senate leaders.
Senator Mondo?
Gerald, I completely agree with you on that, but our oversight comes in a little bit later in the process, and that's why we make all the changes we need there and give the president recommendations based on that, and then approve it. So I think this system already provides.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, moving to a vote. All those in favor of approving Bill 57, the resolution, the student services bylaws, please raise your hands. Keep them up high. Approved unanimously. Okay, Bill 68, the Bobcat Band Retreat. Unless you guys got my email. Bobcat Band Retreat, introduced by Senator Brown. Senator Brown.
Okay. Motion to approve. Motion to approve.
There's been a motion to approve. Is there a second? Senator Daniel.
Second.
Thank you by Senator Daniel. We'll know the report, but it is. Yeah, it was in Bill.
I can open the bill.
Can I introduce this again? Oh, forget. Okay. Bobcat Band did this last year. We actually asked for over $900 last year to go on this same retreat. We did it in fall though. The reason we would have done this in fall, but the reason we couldn't do it in fall is because we rent out SNRI cabins. We rent out two, or this time we're going to be renting out one SNRI cabin. And literally every single cabin was filled up every single weekend, every single day of every month from the beginning of September till the end of January. Every single cabin was completely full and rented out every single weekend. So we couldn't get any of those cabins. And we'd like this to be an overnight thing. All we're asking is to try and rent out these cabins. We have fundraised quite a bit of money to try and go through this. To go to this, the total cost is going to be around $1,000 to try and do this, including with transportation and food to feed all the people. It's going to be about 15 to 20 people there. The reason that we're asking for these $600 instead of funding a little bit more of it is because a lot of our fundraising in the past couple months has actually been going to paying off the debts that we accrued for our instrument purchase. So out of the $2,000 we had to raise for that, a little bit of that money was actually loaned to us by individual members of the band, including myself. We gave loans to the band in like excess of a couple $100s to try and make sure that we could purchase those instruments on time, and then our fundraising would later repay those debts. So that's what a lot of our fundraising has been doing. We've still been able to fundraise past that point, and we're gonna get the money in addition to this. It's about $400 or so. But all we're asking is $600 to try and get these houses just for a couple nights. It's this retreat, especially last year, proved crucial, absolutely crucial to retaining members, training new officers. By then, all of our elections are going to be completely underway, and we're going to have all the nominations for all the officers, all the possible officers that are going to be there. So we basically mandate those people to come on this retreat so that the current officers can train the possible new officers, all the possible new officers, on their possible duties. As in the band for next year, we have 3 people who have all worked in Yosemite. I myself worked in Yosemite as an interpreter last summer, and honestly, I know just as much about Yosemite as just about any ranger there, save for maybe some. And we have 3 people who do that. We have people who can, a lot of our members, we now have a member who actually professionally teaches music classes. So we're planning on doing music classes up there, leadership training, environmental awareness training, some recreational activities, team building, leadership building. This isn't just people going out to go hiking in Yosemite for a couple days. We actually spend most of our time inside talking music and leadership and training, as opposed to going outside for maybe a couple hours on the Saturday to go through the Grove and do an educational talk by one of our members. So really, like, this is much more than just a retreat. It's basically the ASUCM, like it's structured basically kind of like the ASUCM retreat except for the band.
And all we're asking for $600 to try and go there because our funding we can't get enough money for this in time for it, and it's in a couple weeks. That's why, I don't know why it wasn't sent out to committees. I mean, it was sent out to committees. I don't know why it wasn't published, but like I kind of have to get it through today because if I didn't, then next week, which is like even if we approved it next week, it would be really bad on OSL. It would be like 3 days of then. Yeah.
Senator Gray?
How many members are going, and where's the 10%?
15 to 20 people are going. As it stands, that's currently about, sorry.
Oh, Senator Brown.
15 to 20 people are going. As it stands, that's currently maybe about half to a little more of the actual roster of the people that show up. We have maybe about 25 to 35 people who show up to every practice. So of all the actual general membership, we expect about over half, at least a little more, to actually come to this event. Sorry, what was the other question?
The 10%.
This event's going to cost close to $1,000 to try and do between food and transportation as well. So we're paying more than 10%. We're paying almost 40%.
Did you say food and stuff?
Yeah,
We don't fund that either way.
food and transportation. Transportation still cost us $336 last year to do the same amount of people. So we're still going to be paying that as well. So that was a cost. We funded this for over $936 last year, and I'm cutting it down to $600 because we're not asking for transportation.
Discussion? Senator He?
So you guys are going to spend most of the time indoors, you said?
Yeah, actually, well,
Senator Brown?
yeah.
Sorry, Senator Brown.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's just something.
Yeah, like we spend it outdoors, indoors. It's not like, because it's, you know, educational engagement in an outdoor setting. So, yeah, like we won't actually be in a building, but it's not like 15 people just using ASUCM money to go hiking for 2 days.
Senator He?
I feel like it's just like money for you guys to go hiking because it's like, you know, we're going to be indoors and we're going to be lecturing about education for the year. And I understand that, you know, that you've done this before, but it's like, you guys spend the time indoors, you just do it here. I'm happy to send you guys food as well, but hold on to that.
Senator Brown?
Well, like I mean, we don't literally spend every second of both days indoors. We do one small educational hike that takes a couple hours to Sentinel Dome. We do one educational walk through the Mariposa Grove. I personally presented campfire talks this entire summer to general visitors, and I plan on doing that as well for the band program. So it's not, like we're not spending all the time indoors, but we're not going to be like wandering through Buck Meadows for 2 days on your guys' tonight.
Senator He? All right, thanks. Well, yeah, I was just wondering because like other conferences, you know, they have to go. There's just a bunch of people over there and they have to travel. For this one, I like it and probably will be approved, but it's just a question like you know, maybe we could break the norm and just, I'll give you guys food and money here and you have to do something here. You know, what do you think about that?
Senator Brown?
Well, I mean, the draw of Yosemite is actually what gets most people to go. It's basically, like with this money, it would be an entire weekend. And some people have essays or midterms due that next week. So some people already can't go. And a lot of people like to use the excuse that they have, you know, they have too much work to do, or they have other things to do, and they have other plans. Because they don't want to necessarily use up a weekend. Not a lot of these people actually, a lot of the people that went last year, basically everyone that went last year, wants to go this year and they're pushing for it. But the new people, to really get them to go, the draw of basically getting a close to free trip, they're going to be putting in some money to like pay for food and transportation and stuff. But a relatively cheap trip to Yosemite is really the big draw of it than anything else. That's what is getting people to go, is that it's in Yosemite. If it was just on campus, I doubt we could get more than 6 people to come, honestly, because just no one would see the worth in it.
Senator Sir?
So I'm just kind of confused because normally in the past when some clubs away off campus, it's because you're going to some educational experience to make their club better. Your club is a band, so I would be hoping that you come back performing better. But it's so just a band practice in Yosemite. Like, I just don't get how it's going to affect your club performing better.
Okay, so I'm going to go over it again. It is a leadership training, music training, and naturalist educational experience for everyone that's going there. We have 3 people who worked in Yosemite as interpreters and one as an educator over the past couple summers. We know a lot about Yosemite, and we can I've provided National Park Service standard visitor programs to visitors for 3 months straight while living in Yosemite. I know quite a bit about it, and I've done this before, as have the other 2 people that I work with. We've done that before. We provide those educational experiences, as well as musical educational experiences and leadership training for some of the new leaders that are going to be the officers in the Bobcat Band next year. So this isn't just a band practice. Most of it actually necessarily has nothing to do with the actual instruments. It's learning about music theory, about the band, about the history of the band, about how the band is going to be run, talking plans for next year, possible events, fundraising ideas, all those things. We have all these things down. We're not going to be sitting around playing music for 3 days in an SNRI cabin.
Senator Prado? We can call the question in a second. Senator Gray? Second by Senator Gray. So all those in favor of any discussion moving to a vote, please raise your hands. Hands up. Okay, passed unanimously. All those in favor of approving this bill, the Bobcat Band Spring Retreat, please raise your hands. Senator Gray, Senator Pardo, Senator Rosenberg, Senator Daniels, Senator T, Senator Husto, and Senator Brown. All those opposed? Senator Jones, Senator Gallon, Senator Taylor, Senator Wong, Senator Mondo, Senator Zisser, and Senator He. Tie. Bill number 68 passes. Senator Daniel?
I motion to reconsider the previously approved motion on resolution number 11, advanced technical resolution.
There's a second, Senator Mondo? Seconded by Senator Mondo. Can you repeat the motion, please, again?
I motion to reconsider a previously approved motion to
Senator Mondo.
I move to consider the previous motion, the approval of resolution number 11, the master plan for education.
There's been a motion to, there's Senator Daniel, second by Senator Daniel, discussion. Senator Mondo?
My iPad wasn't working, so I couldn't review the resolution effectively, but going through it, there were some errors in copying it over from the resolution from a different campus. It has some things in the last be it resolved that don't make any sense in regards to what we're trying to do. And there's also some a couple typos, especially in one of the be it resolves. It says, let further be resolved, instead of let it further be resolved, and if we're going to pass a resolution, it's got to be right.
Okay. Any more discussion? Senator Gray?
No.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion to reconsider the vote on a previous motion, please raise your hands. Approved unanimously. Okay then, so we're now back, I'm assuming back at discussion for this? Okay. Senator, any more discussion? Senator Daniel?
So the first things first.
Just one thing, I'm actually not ASUCSB President Jonathan Booth. I know people make that mistake a lot. Obviously look a lot alike. So if that could be rephrased,
Oh, don't do it right now. Kaylin Holmes made the motion.
I'm trying to figure out what the language would basically be, but basically to say that you support having me bring this up to the UC Merced division of the Academic Senate, and I would also include the staff assembly in there, and you can even include the graduate.
They're locking us in here.
Graduate Student Association. So if you just take out the entire conference call, Jonathan Abood stuff, and put it that you want me to present this to the Academic Senate Staff Assembly and the Graduate Student Association, Merced, that would probably fix that. And also, it's let further be resolved, it's let it further be resolved above that.
Okay. I need a motion, Sarah Daniel.
Motion to make all amendments.
Okay. Yes. Senator Mondo.
Any friendly amendments? I'll make one. I'd like to make a friendly amendment to change the further resolves to read. Oh, that was just it. Now instead of if. Never mind. Let's put those in. I was listening to that. I was busy reading something else. The rest of this. Never mind. Change that.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion?
What's going on? Oh, I'm in the final. I'm in let finally resolve. Finally, let it be finally resolved that the ASUCM president, Jaron Brandon, drafted a letter. Yeah.
Can it be approved by the Senate?
That
No.
that
Yeah. So just change the associated students. Change it to add President Jaron Brandon after Merced. President Brandon.
Traded? Move to a vote. Senator East.
Can you scroll up a little bit? Just a little bit. Yeah, right there. So the reason I keep the further resolve is ASUCM executive and legislative branches. Good, or is it going to change? I'm assuming it's going to change.
Senator Sister.
I yield before President Brandon.
Alright, so language that I would suggest you could adopt as a motion, ASUCM executive and, or let it be further resolved that the should be added. ASUCM executive and actually just say that the ASUCM shall have President Brandon submit a copy of this resolution to the Academic Senate, Staff Assembly, and graduate students. Anyone wants a motion for that, I can say it again.
Your motion.
Just talk.
Senator Mondo.
I move to amend the resolution to read as President Brandon. Yes.
Do you accept?
Yes.
Any more discussion? Jerry, can you go come over and tell her what you're saying?
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Okay, move to a vote. All those in favor again of approving vote on resolution number 11, please raise your hand. Passed unanimously again.
I'd like to add one.
This was from last week, Zach.
Okay, so new business, the Presidential Appointment Ken Gaffney to the University Budget Committee.
Just don't do it.
Just don't motion. Just don't do it. Okay, presidential appointment of Liliana Zimeno, right? To the ASUCM court, Senator Mondo.
I move that we approve the presidential nomination.
There's been a motion to approve the presidential nomination. Is there a second, Senator Taylor?
Second.
Second by Senator Taylor. President Brandon? Do you all have a resume, pending resume?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a compliment. Yeah.
Do it from.
Great, thank you, Senate. Thank you all. So I'm really excited to announce my last court appointment, and also very excited to announce that it is Lily. So Lily is someone that's had a lot of experience working in ASUCM and has been very involved. Someone that, again, I interviewed. I'll say it again, basically what I was looking for is not answers, but it's the ability to think critically, is the ability to draw on multiple resources, and as I threw complicating things out there to try and give really tough kind of gray area situations, the ability to kind of think of their feet and not back themselves into a corner where they just really have nowhere to go. So in our discussion, or in the interview that I gave Lily, I was very impressed, again, with her ability to kind of like navigate that stuff and draw from a number of resources in making a decision, and that at no real point was it a place where she was unable or had to go back on her logic in that. It was clear throughout the entire time. I think she'll be a great addition in this role to the ASUCM family. She's already a part of that. And that she'll be able to be one of the people that are on court that are really contributing to ASUCM as a whole, in addition to being a great court justice. With that, introduce Lily.
Good evening, everyone. Senators, thank you for having me tonight. Like President Brennan said, my name is Liliana Zermeno. I'm a first year. I have been involved with ASUCM with the Director of Academic Affairs. We've been working very closely, and I've been getting very familiar with a lot that has to do with the government. Maybe you guys have seen me at the Senate meetings. I love getting really involved with the government, mainly because I love being a voice for the students. It's a huge thing that that happens to me. I think it's very important, and I love being part of ASUCM. And when President Brennan approached me for court, I thought that this was a great opportunity to do this, especially that I think it's very important to carry out laws, the bylaws, rules, how they are set. So I consider myself to be very honest, respectful, and dedicated. I did mention that I was not going to accept this appointment unless I knew that I was going to be able to give 110% of myself. And that is something that I have promised myself, and of course the students. So if there's any further questions.
Senator Daniel?
Can you make the court meetings currently situated at 3 to 4?
I have writing on Mondays, but like I said before, I do have, I'm very into technology. I know a lot of the ones in court. We have really good communication. I see Mikaela very often as well, a lot of the other court justices. And I'm willing to see Arash as often as I have to, even on weekends if it's necessary. But to make sure that I'm on top of things and making sure that I don't miss out on anything.
Senator Daniel?
So you're well familiar with court and how it functions, the current problems it faced in the past and right now, as well as the current, you looked over all the cases up to now.
No, I haven't. I got a brief overview about it, but like I've heard that this court is very young and that I'm willing to learn. I love learning about it. I know that as a court you have to go to a lot of resources, and I look forward to that. That's why I'm at UC Merced, because I love doing research. I'm willing to go through all the resources that I have to in order to make the best decision with the court.
And any more questions? Senator Zisser?
So what do you see as the biggest problem for court currently, and how do you plan to solve it?
Communication. I honestly did think that that was the biggest problem, and because of communication and lack of dedication. And what I saw about this new court that got appointed and everything, they were very enthusiastic, and that caught my attention. I want to be a part of that new move, changing the face of court, making sure that it's actually effective, that we're actually doing, justice, and actually making sure that we're carrying on cases and concerns. So I look very forward to their being a part of this team.
More questions? Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to move to closed session. Senator Daniel?
Move to enter into executive session.
There's been a motion to move into closed session. Is there a second? Senator Galen?
Second.
Second by Senator Galen. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? The presidential appointment of Liliana Zermeno has been approved unanimously.
session.
Oh no, that was all the way over there. Did you do it on the way out?
I didn't delete it. We can delete it, yeah. We're having 3 recorders in a room. Did this record the whole closed session?
I guess this is the reason why I could delete it right now.
What?
I could delete it like right now.
Yeah, I just noticed that it was
Yeah,
playing
I didn't. Yeah, I just like.
We stopped this camera, closed the laptop.
You don't want to rely on that man
These have frames.
Oh, okay. You're gonna send it to comedians.
Those are not yours.
Those are state signatures, not executive signatures.
Oh, guess who's not getting a ride? That's what's happening
Pretty sure to say.
I'm gonna apply until the law, but I forgot to change the name.
It's a minute resolution saying Jared can no longer wear those glasses.
That's logical.
Hashtag
Swaggy for boys.
They're mine.
We're in the audience.
It's me.
There's something going on.
You're over there.
You're on the world.
Most probably.
Hashtag first world problem.
It's not.
Sorry, updating this one. Okay, so bill number 65, legislative bylaw amendment introduced by Senator Garland. Senator Garland.
Motion to send to all
There's
committees.
been a motion to send all committees. There's a second. Senator Zisser.
I second.
Second by Senator Zisser. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Send to all committees. Yeah, dude, it's right there.
Where?
On the thing.
I don't know. I saw. Damn, I didn't even see it.
Hey.
I was looking for this.
Maybe get some new eyes.
Okay, bill number 66, anthropological society bill. Introduced by Senator Gray. Senator Gray.
Motion to send bill number 66 to Budget and Finance.
There's been a motion to send bill number 66 to Budget and Finance. Is there a second? Senator Daniel.
Second.
Second by Senator Daniel. Any discussion? Senator Zisser.
How come it's not going to all committees?
Senator Gray.
It's not an on-campus thing, so I don't see why activities would need it. It's not an advocacy thing, so I don't know why activities would need it. I will upload it on Facebook and so you guys can look at it. You guys have my email if you guys want to see it and talk to me about it. But I feel like it's just a budget and finance concern. If you guys want, I can send it to our committees. I'd say it's a waste of time, but it's up to you.
Senator Garland.
What does constitute student advocacy thing in your perspective?
I know, we
I just thought that-
advocate.
Let's keep it germane to the. Let's keep it germane. Yeah. So Senator Brown.
I always just say send every bill to all committees because a student's gonna say something about UC Merced that's advocating. Students are doing something, so that's an activity. Someone's gonna learn something somewhere at some point, so that's academics. And if it has anything to do with money, then it goes to budget and finance.
So I'm sending it to Budget and Finance.
Hey, everyone.
So I'm sending it to Budget and Finance.
I always just
Hey, hey.
I would send my motion, I want to send all.
The library service desk will close 15 minutes at 11:45. All items are due now. Please return them immediately. Thank you.
Okay. So you sent his motion.
And a
Senator Gray.
motion to send bill number 66 to all committees.
There's a motion to send bill number 66 to all committees. There's a second. Senator Mondo.
Second.
Okay, with Senator Mondo. Any discussion? Senator Gray. Any more discussion? Anyone opposed? Sent to all committees. Bill number 67 per diem introduced by Senator Mondo.
We move to send bill number 67 to all committees.
There's been a motion to send bill number 67 to all committees. There's a second. Senator Daniel.
I second.
Second by Senator Daniel. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Sent to all committees. Resolution number 13, fund the UC, introduced by Senator Garland. Senator Garland.
I motion to send resolution number 13 to all committees.
Is there a motion to send resolution number 13 to all committees? There's a second. Senator Taylor.
Second.
Second by Senator Taylor. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? Sent to all committees. Announcements. UC leaders is this Saturday. Please go. Leadership Catalyst on Sunday. Please go if you can. Senator Daniel.
Research week is next week. In case you didn't know, it's a ASUCM usually has a spot during this week for the first for the Fellowship Undergraduate Research Symposium. But this year, it's the first year we're doing it. So next year we have a spot on Research Week. But Research Week is as the guest speaker said, is a collaboration with different departments. I had the honor of sitting on the planning committee with Jessica Perez. So I will forward all of the email and expect a response to that.
Senator Mondo?
Kristen, I can't remember her last name. She came to us a while ago. She talked to me about the what's it called, the cap and gown situation, and I know Jefferson sent out that petition, but if anyone wants to work with me on a resolution, I'm sure someone's got to, and I'm more than happy to. I'd rather do more resolutions than bills in here right now anyway, so if anyone wants to work with me, I'm more than happy for that.
Remember, budget and finance. I mean, Ken is having his budget hearings. Please go, Senator Gray.
Oh, awesome, guys. So I have two awesome announcements. Hopefully you're going to hear them. So unfortunately, the meeting with ASUCM Council today, they called me asleep, but no, I mean, I didn't miss it because I was asleep. They just called me to tell me it was canceled. It was canceled, but I did have I already made a list of questions I had. I'll upload that on the Facebook page, and maybe you guys can add to it to see what I can ask them. And another thing, actually, I'll let them say it. Can I use the floor? You guys can. Okay, well, announcements. Next week, ASUCM is going to go live on YouTube. Yes, so it's a good announcement. I think a lot of people, so we're going to be live on YouTube for those students who cannot be here. And that's all thanks to video equipment. Reach Authentic Media House, yes.
So the Leadership Outreach Committee, headed by Delaney, we're working on a new project. Our new project is reaching out. We've already reached out to all 200 clubs through emails. And we're going to be doing presentations to the clubs that apply to give presentations so we can educate them about what the government does and how they can benefit from our government. So if anybody wants to be a part of that, we're open. We're looking for people to try to help us address those 200 clubs on it, like go to their meeting and like talk to them. So if you want to learn about that, come see Delaney or me after the meeting.
Senator Daniel?
So if anyone's interested in voting, as many can just email us. The budget meeting for the law clinic is something that I'm pretty sure no one here knows anything about. Correct me if I'm wrong. Their budget hearing is tomorrow in SSM 236 in the law clinic office.
Okay, so you have your announcement?
I do. So, who likes Girl Scout cookies?
Woo!
We're going to be selling with a troop next Wednesday at 10 a.m. So go support them. I know last year we helped them go to Morris County. We're so excited. So I kind of want to see those smiles again. So go support them, guys.
You're 5 years old. They never remember.
They're so cute.
Bobcat Band is looking for instrument people to play instruments. We have some new instruments. We have a couple of saxophones, a couple alto and tenor saxophones. Brand new instruments. We're waiting to get them registered. That's a big problem. Nobody wants to register them. It's a really big thing. I need to have a conversation with everyone about that. Either way, if you know anyone who plays, especially a flute or clarinet, please send them to the band. We are desperate beyond measure for high woodwind players. Yeah, and honestly, out of a band of like 30 people, we have 10 trumpets. It's really bad.
Senator Daniel? On a motion to adjourn, is there a second? Senator Gray? Second by Senator Gray. Any discussion? Any opposed?